said, I want to wait to see what the results of that are. So the good news is, like he mentioned, there was a leak this week about the survey being very positive, and also including two parts. It was basically an assessment of the working group study, and the second part is a plan for implementation. So that's all great news this week. And another piece of great news this week was Secretary Gates now saying, part of it having to do with the uncertainty of the courts. You know, we went through a period there in October of every day policy changing, and you know, probably about an 8-day period where nobody knew where they sat. You know, nobody knew. Luckily for me, I'm out. I don't. It didn't affect me. But you know, Secretary Gates came out the other day and said that he wants to see it done before the end of the year. So now I have two positive signs. We have the 10 senators who were sort of using. We want to see what the working group says. We want to see what Secretary Gates and Admiral Mullen recommend. So now I think in the next 3 to 4 days, we'll see a lot of important things happen. Mainly, the Senate comes back into session on Monday, and that's where they'll set the schedule to the end of the year. So if the NDAA gets on there, if we continue to hear good news from Secretary Gates and Admiral Mullen, those senators can now sort of use that as their duck and cover and actually vote and do the right thing this time.
It's very interesting. Admiral Mullen, some of you may have just read in the last 2 days about the new Commandant of the Marine Corps, who's a member of the Joint Chiefs, coming out and saying something to the effect that he, publicly, that he thought it was remained a detriment to combat operations and that sort of thing.
Which he wasn't supposed to do because they were all instructed to make
well,
their private recommendations to the president. So. That
was the point I was going to make, is that Mullen, very politely, these things happen very carefully in the Pentagon. He dressed the Commandant of the Marine Corps down for violating the plan that they had to go through this. And that was just yesterday that he announced that. So.
And on our friend John McCain's note, I plan on going to D.C. on Tuesday to stare at John McCain. He doesn't like it when I'm staring.